Okay, here's what I need you to do is open up a Word document right now. So go somewhere, open up a clean document. You don't really need to see me very well for this video. All right, and then also what I need you to do is I want you to go to, actually, you know what? Don't do that. You just hang out with me for right now. So open the Word document. I want you to on the top. I want you to name it Nameslist. Okay, and then and here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna time this. Let me get my timer out, and we are going to. What we're gonna do for the next 5 minutes is we're going to have you write names. Okay, so now what you're going to do, what you're going to write is I'm going to have you write every single person that you have ever met in your entire life, right? We're going to see who types the fastest here, all right? So now, this has nothing, well, it does have something to do with the job, obviously, but I don't want you to think about who you can do presentations for, all right? So don't worry about that. Don't worry about how you're going to call these people. Don't worry about where they live. I don't care where they live. I don't care about how old they are. They could be your friends of 15 years old. I don't care. It could be my niece who's 5 years old. All right. So it doesn't matter how old they are. It doesn't matter where they live. They can live in another country. And don't worry about when the last time you saw them. All right. So understand what we're doing. You're just writing down every person. Don't start. By the way, if you started, you're cheating. All right. So you're just going to write down every person you ever met, whether they're a homeowner or not. Now, when you do this, you're just going to write either their first name or their last name. Okay, you only got 5 minutes. You're not going to do both. You're not going to write. Don't write Matthew. Don't write Mr. Washington. You can write. Well, let me rephrase. You can write Matt W. or Mr. Washington. All right, you don't have to write Matthew Washington. All right, because it's going to take you too long to do it. All right, so one or the other. If you know 5 people named Joe, just write Joe C, Joe B, Joe F, Joe K. All right, this is not something you're going to be turning in. This is for your own edification. You know who these people are. I don't need to know who these people are. Okay. By the way, if you don't even know their names, all right. So some of you, do you guys have the I call them the wavy neighbor? Okay, like the neighbor that you see. What sometimes you go to the mailbox, whatever, and they look at you and you look at them and you're like, hey, all right. But you don't know who they are, you don't know their name, you can write them down. Wavy neighbor, right? You can describe people. The cashier I always see when I go to get this. Well, actually, don't write all that, right? Write cashier, all right? So any person that pops in your head, whether you know them, their first name, as long as you look at them and would recognize them and say, oh yeah, I recognize that person, you're gonna put them on this list. Everybody understand what we're doing, okay? So, so the key is living, breathing human beings that you've met in your life and that you would recognize. Oh, by the way, they could be in the past, they could be old teachers, anyone you've ever met. Hopefully you understand. All right, on your mark. Don't start yet. You gotta start the get set, go. All right, 5 minutes you got. I'm gonna sit here for 5 minutes and look at you do your work. Let's see who can do the best at this. Who can get the most in 5 minutes? You should be typing. If you're not good at typing, you could be handwriting this. That's fine too. All right, that's 1 minute down. All right, so anybody, parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, brothers, sisters-in-laws. Cousins are at that reunion that you don't know who they are. You just call them cuz. You don't know how they're related. And again, any neighbors, you got the wavy neighbors, behind your house neighbors, corner neighbors, and next door neighbor, all directions. People in front, people in back, people on the side. You probably start off with your friends. You can do all friends, from even friends you haven't seen in a long time. Friends from who was your best friend in elementary school? What about middle school? What about third grade? What about in college? Whole neighborhoods you used to live in. What about friends there? You don't have to be friends. Be opposite of friends. What about enemies? People you hate. It's fine. Ex-girlfriend or boyfriend. Ex-husband. Ex-wife. Those people you never want to hang out with. All right. What about if you were ever on any sports teams? The coaches. Any camps you used to be a part of? You used to go to? Those you aren't students are a little older. What about your kids? Where do you bring them? What about their coaches? What about people in the soccer leagues or the other parents or the other kids? Again, don't matter how old they are. You're just thinking, you're just writing, typing as fast as you can, each person. We are 3 minutes and 45 seconds in, which means a minute and 15 seconds left. What about people from church? If you go to church, synagogue, or temple, right? Well, I'm Jewish, I should know temple. Right? Past teachers, again, doesn't matter how long ago. You can, if you can't remember their names, you can literally write my first grade teacher, my second grade teacher, my third grade teacher, my fourth grade teacher, my fifth grade teacher. Right? So if you're sitting there looking at the paper right now, you're not understanding the concept of this exercise. You should be typing wildly, making all kinds of mistakes. About old bosses from other jobs. Some of you are still in friends. It's fine. Some of you are neighbors still. Some of you are still writing down your big family. Cool. I'm just throwing out some stuff to help you. Who do you do business with? Who's your doctor? You can literally write my doctor, your dentist, your accountant, your hairdresser who does your nails. Stop! Okay, so hopefully you didn't have the volume up too loud there. All right, I gave you extra 30 seconds. All right, so as far as you were going through that exercise, by the way, in the drive, in Google Drive, you're going to see there is a piece called Thought Joggers, right? So, which is where some of those things are coming from. And there's like 2 pages of it of people that you've met, right? So, the reason we did this exercise, okay, and I want to explain why we're doing it. Hopefully you should have got to at least 40, maybe even 50 people if you're doing this correctly. If you have 5 minutes, you should be able to write 10 names a minute. Wait, yeah. Okay, so the point being is you probably got even a lot more. Maybe you got 50 or 60. Here's the thing. The goal is to go as fast as you possibly can and to get these down. Now, if you notice, as I was giving you the thought joggers, that you thought of people in like groups, right? Like you thought of like you had the little filing cabinet, right? I call it the mental filing cabinet, right? So I said, oh, old teachers, and you're like, poof, oh, my teachers, first grade, second grade teacher, third grade teacher, professors, this and that, right? Close the file, like, oh, who else? Oh, people from your old job. Oh, old job. Poof, you open that folder, right? Write some people down. Okay, so there's a reason that's how your mind stores information. All right. So this is why we're doing this exercise, because I know you have already thought of some people that you can practice with. All right. If you got this job and you're watching, you're at this far into the videos, you already, started saying, okay, I'm going to practice with this person, that person, that person. But the problem is you probably just came up with a couple of people. You probably came up with like 10, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 15 people to practice with. Well, the New York Times did a study. I can actually have it right here. Let me share my screen. Get out of the way, me. All right. And now that we have the internet, it's so much easier to think of how many people that we know. Training picks, there it is, right? So, so the New York Times did a study, a social study, and this was back in 2013. They said the average person knows about 600 people that they've ever met. All right. So, so the point being is there's a lot of people that all right. Like if you passed away, how many people would be at your funeral? If you had a wedding, how many people? Like the hardest thing for people to do when they get married is they have to go and shorten the list, right? So they have to go, okay, these people can't come, these people can't come, we have a budget and, we can only invite a certain amount of people. So, so the point being is there's a lot of people that and the same thing, by the way, the same thing that I'm doing for you right now is the same thing with your customers, right? So your customers know tons and tons and tons of people, right? If sometimes I remember I used to have when I used to ask for introductions, and if someone said, well, I don't know anybody, I was like, well, why do you have a cell phone? Okay, if you don't know anybody, I guarantee if I take your cell phone from you right now and open up the contacts, there won't be nobody in there, right? My mom doesn't even know how to program her cell phone, and she's got at least 15 people on her cell phone, right? So the point being is we know you're not going to be able to see every person, but because of that mental filing cabinet thing that I talked about, what happens is you're going to think of more people because of the fact that because you're open-minded, you're still thinking of people. If you go, who do I know, when you ask customers, if they start going, who do I know that wants to go solar? Because you kind of talked about solar a little bit, and it's like they don't know how would they know if who wants to go solar, right? But it's like, Miss Jones, who do you know that owns a house? Okay, who do you know that pays a utility bill? Who do you know that lives on this block? Who are your neighbors? Are you close to your neighbors? Who do you know? By the way, I'm studying to be a doctor. Do you know, I like to talk to doctors because even in my presentation, I like to kind of talk to them about other stuff. Do you know any doctors? Who's your doctor? Great, write them down, send them a text. Could you introduce me to them? Okay, so it's really that simple. All right, so understand that. The next video, we're gonna have the rest of your assignment. This was kind of the beginning of your official names list, but the next part, the next video is gonna go through a little bit more what you're going to do with this. All right. But I wanted you to see how fast and how easy. Imagine you had use of Facebook and Instagram and your phone contacts out and all the facilities you had, how many people you have come in contact with and right? A lot of people. Right. So we don't need a lot from customers. It's pretty easy to get recommendations if you set it up the right way, which I'll teach you later on.